Learn about the main features of the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was founded in 1431 in the Valley of Mexico. The empire was formed by the alliance of three main city-states of Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, Tlacopan. The Aztecs were originally nomadic tribes who were called Tenochca, a name derived from their legendary ancestor, Tenoch. Their language was Nahuatl. They migrated from the north of central Mexico around the early 13th century, fought with the native tribes in Mexico, and also served under them. Thus, they imbibed the culture of the Toltecs, Mayas, and Zapotecs. In the 14th century, they took shelter on a small marshy island in the middle of Texcoco Lake in Mexico and began building the city of Tenochtitlan. Then they took new areas under their control and established their empire. Even today, there are Indians in Mexico who are descendants of the Aztecs. The Aztec society was highly organized and divided into classes. The nobles took the highest position in society. They owned the land and were mostly priests and leaders of the army. The next in line were the middle class, who were mainly merchants, artisans, and skilled stone workers. The lower class of people or commoners were farmers, soldiers, and laborers. Slaves made up the lowest class of people who were either captured in war or were punished for committing serious crimes. Warriors were considered an important and respected lot of society. Most Aztec rulers were warriors. They believed that being a warrior was a religious duty. Even warriors had different levels of rankings based on the number of captives they had. The jaguar or the eagle warriors were the highest rank warriors. All Aztecs, except for nobles, paid taxes with goods and services. Both men and women were treated equally in Aztec society. When the Aztecs began to build the city-state of Tenochtitlan, they had to work hard to convert the small marshy island into agricultural land. They built small plots of soil called chinampas that seemed to float on the lake. They were able to grow pulses, grains, pepper, fruit, tomato, tobacco, cocoa beans, and cotton. The Aztec people built huts of straw and adobe bricks with thatch roofs. They also built impressive temples. The nobles used to live in houses built of stone and burnt bricks. The king lived in a magnificent palace and kept innumerable nobles and slaves under him. Most Aztec people were trained in the art of war to use spears, bows, and arrows. All Aztec children attended school depending upon their gender and social class. Children belonging to the noble class attended a school called Calmecac that was run by priests. Their students were given training in religion, military tactics, and leadership. Children belonging to the middle class and commoners attended a school called Telpochcali, where they studied history, religion, and different professional skills. The Aztecs were worshippers of nature, and they tried to please their gods through human sacrifice. They constantly fought with the neighboring states and took people captive. The prisoners captured during war would not be killed, but were kept in prison to be later offered as human sacrifice to the Aztec gods. The Aztecs carried out trade with connected Tenochtitlan with far-off places of the empire. They practiced barter system in order to carry out trade. Soldiers gave protection to the traders. Since there were no animals to carry loads, they used manual laborers to carry loads. They also used boats to travel through canals while bringing the harvest from the nearby farms. The Aztec city-states were filled with palaces, temples, and pyramids. The best of architectural and sculptural representations are found on Aztec buildings. The Aztecs used picture symbols and numbers through hieroglyphic writing in order to record historical and religious events. The Aztecs used two different calendars. The first calendar, called the Tonalpohualli, which means count of days, was used by priests for tracking religious ceremonies and festivals. It was a 260-day calendar that was composed of 13 months, each containing 20 days. The other calendar was called the Xiupohualli, or solar year, was used to track time. It was a 365-day calendar that was composed of 18 months, each containing 20 days, and a separate 5-day period was added at the end of the year. The two calendars would coincide once every 52 years. The start of the 52-year cycle was celebrated by a new fire ceremony using human sacrifice. The Aztecs used a wide variety of herbs to cure sickness. The Aztec Empire had a wealth of oral tradition, which has been translated by Spanish historians and social scientists. The Aztecs used pictures on bark paper to record their stories that were later made into books called codices. The Aztecs had built and ruled an empire within the span of only a century. However, the empire also suffered an equally rapid fall. The Spanish army entered the Valley of Mexico Valley in 1519 under the leadership of the conquistador Hernán Cortés. They spotted the beautiful city of Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Aztecs, and captured their temple, palace, and pyramids. Cortés founded Mexico City on the ruins of Tenochtitlan. Today it is the capital of Mexico and one of the largest cities in the world. Around 80% of the people living in the Valley of Mexico died because of the diseases that Spanish brought, such as smallpox, influenza, and malaria. Let us now recap all the important points that we have covered in this module on the Aztec Empire.